there anything new to report with Haason Reddick?
No, not that I'm aware of.
In your mind, is there a deadline this week in terms of him being able to play Monday? Like, would he have to be here for Thursday's practice? Would he have to be here today? What's the deadline in your mind?
Really, it's going to be all dependent on how he looks. If and when he shows up, we'll put him through some work with the training staff, see where he's at, and then communicate with him on what we can figure out.
Robert, what would your expectation? Obviously, there's just word that Trent Williams has been extended over there. I know you're worrying about your guys on your roster, but obviously, do you have an expectation that he would play on Monday night?
Yeah, there was never not an expectation that he wasn't going to play. So we've been preparing as if he's going to be there since day one.
And what kind of a difference maker is a guy like that for somebody who like yourself has been on the defensive side of the ball and also been in that same locker room?
Yeah, he's obviously he's one of the best offensive tackles in the history of the game. So he's a tremendous weapon in that regard. He can do all kinds of things. He's violent. He's smart. He's a great teammate. So he's a tremendous asset for that organization.
How would you describe Kyle as a play caller, and also how unique is it what they do with their personnel in terms of movement?
Yeah, he's been calling plays now. I feel like for 20 years it feels like from when I got in the league. But he's unique in the sense that he can see it as it goes. You know, he's got his game plan. And then he's got the game that happens after the first quarter where he'll create plays on the sideline if he has to. But he is very, very good at recognizing the way players move and the players relate and the space that's created on defense by certain plays. And he just knows how to counterpunch, and he knows exactly when to counterpunch. He sees things on tape that gives him opportunities to exploit, and you know he's one of the best.
You remember when you met him, Robert?
Yeah, it was when I was quality control. I was quality control for the Houston Texans, and he was the coming in freshly minted wide receiver coach. Still skinny now, like he was back then. But no, it was the first time I ever met him. He's a great human.
He obviously, his dad accomplished so much. I'm sure he came in kind of with expectations, but do you remember, was he impressive right away? Like just kind of his acumen?
Yeah. And really in life, it's not just football, but it's all professions. It's who you know, not what you know. Right. And, I would argue with anyone that ever questions whether or not Kyle Shanahan is where he is because of his dad, and his dad is a phenomenal human and had all those accolades. But he's one of those football kids, coaches' kids, who actually deserves to be where he is because of how unique he is to the sport. So he sees the game differently. He's well versed in all three phases, and you could tell that from the first day I met him.
Robert, is the practice plan for Tyron Smith going to change at all from training camp to the regular season now that it's kind of a different schedule?
We'll still have a plan for him. He'll still be, I don't want to say limited. He's still going to meet most of the requirements, but we'll still continue to be smart with him.
What are you guys doing today, Robert?
Just some light work. Call it a bonus Monday on a Tuesday. And then they have a day off tomorrow, and we'll get back to it Thursday.
Robert, I know we've addressed this before, but what's your confidence level in some of these other guys on the line? If it doesn't look like Haason's going to be here, and he was going to be, making up for Bryce and some of the sacks. So, what's your confidence level in Michael and Will going against this pretty good offense?
I've got a lot of confidence in all of them. Michael looks a lot different than he did a year ago. Where, from our standpoint, we recommended that he gain 30 pounds, which was, in hindsight, not a good idea. And but everything I feel like is in a really good place for him. He's lighter, he's faster, he's leaner. He still has all his power, and he's playing really well. Will McDonald looks awesome. You know, his speed and counter off his speed is is lethal. He's doing well enough in the run game, and then don't sleep on Tack. You know, I thought Tack had a really good training camp also. So we've got plenty to go rush the passer. Our interior guys, Quinnen, Kinlaw, and Saleh still will produce a whole lot for us, and so I'm not overly concerned at all.
Robert, when you made the move for Haason, obviously you had expectations and whatnot, and I know you've been reticent to address stuff just because he hasn't been here. But I mean, how disappointed are you not to have this done here and have the full deck that you had planned, you know, as you go into this game?
I'm not. There's no disappointment. It's you know, you've got your roster, you got the guys who are here, and those are the guys you focus on, you know, and you know, hopefully eventually he does get here, and when he gets here, like I said, we're going to embrace him, we're going to love him, we're going to do everything we can to put him in a position to be successful, to achieve the goals that he's trying to achieve, as well as us. But I wouldn't call it disappointment.
Robert, would it be, in a weird way, a bonus at this point because you've gone so long without him, that you've had this plan going without Reddick in there?
Yeah, I mean, it's like finding change in the couch, I guess, right? But no, he's a special football player, and when he gets here, when he eventually gets here, he's only going to help us.
Can you speak to some of the similarities and differences in regards to Brees and McCaffrey?
They're similar but different. You know, they're both three-down football players that are elite with the ball in their hands. You know, they're both fantastic playmakers, home run hitters, and people you have to game plan for. But both are relentless in their pursuit to be great. Both are relentless with the ball in their hands. Both are elite as route runners. Both are elite with the catching the ball. I mean, they've got elite vision. It's their play style, you know, and how they achieve it might be a little bit different, but they're both very, 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 very good.
Robert, real quick on Robert on Reddick. When was the last time you spoke to him?
I won't say before training camp, I believe.
Robert, just going back to Kyle for a second. When the schedule came out, did you guys have any good-natured conversations, you know, about this game?
No. I think when the schedule first came out, I gave him a call, and he said something. I'm not going to say what he said, but it's all good nature.
Are you looking for? I mean, this will be the first time you can match wits with him as a coordinator, or you know, as a head coach, and you know, what are you looking forward to? Kind of trying to decipher the Kyle Shanahan offense, that because you were always on the same side as him.
You know, I'll be honest. I'm really honestly looking forward to our guys getting an opportunity to compete. You know, they're you know, offensively, defensively, special teams. That San Francisco team they're NFC champs. They're on the cusp. They're one of the best football teams in the NFL. So to be able to go out to their place on Monday night is a pretty cool opportunity for our guys to go compete and against one of the best teams in the league.
Robert, have you guys voted on captains yet?
That was today. We'll have the results by the end of practice.
Robert, when the schedule came out, we talked a lot about this first 3-game stretch and kind of the composition of it. How much time have you guys spent just trying to map this out, you know, with, I'm sure, your sports science guys and trainers, you know, just how detailed a plan is this for this first 3 games?
I feel like, you know, we spent a lot of time in the offseason during OTAs, right when the schedule hit, coming up with a plan, and we feel really good about it. We've got all the schedules set up all the way through through that weekend, and you know, we're excited to attack it. We feel good about it. We feel good about the new practice schedules. We feel good about the work weeks, and you know, we just got to go execute.
Robert, we know what you know, the past year has been like with Aaron, but is it kind of nice knowing after almost a year that you know you're going and planning for a game with Aaron Rodgers as your quarterback?
Yeah, I mean, it's he is one of the best, and he's playing really well. You know, I've said it, his arm is still 30, and he still has plenty of mobility to be able to create off schedule, which is the hallmark of his game. And you know, so it's I'm just excited for this entire group. You know, it's every year is a new year. There's always going to be new people. There's always going to be even the same people will have renewed mindsets. And, you know, I feel like this entire team, this entire organization has a renewed mindset. And like I said, we're just all looking forward to getting the opportunity to compete on Monday night.